You're listening to the Born and Bred podcast.
Available now on all streaming platforms.
This podcast is kindly sponsored by the shop Born and Bred, who sell Belfast's finest merchandise and gifts. So if you need any gifts for your mum, your dad, friends, family, or even the wee dog, that's where you need to go.
Okay, welcome to another episode of the Born and Bred podcast. This week we have someone who is very familiar to the podcast scene. Thank you very much, Diona Doherty, for coming along today.
You're welcome. It's been a pleasure.
It's been a pleasure so far.
I was going to say it's been a pleasure. Look, I'm away. Bye.
Great to have you on the podcast. See you later.
30 seconds. That's my quickest chat.
So, Diona, this podcast is called the Born and Bred podcast. So the first thing that we're doing with everyone who we get on is just ask them, like, where are you born and bred? Tell us a little bit about where you come from.
Born and bred in Derry. Mm-hmm. Some people call it Londonderry, but they're wrong. No,
it's a bit controversial already.
Straight in.
Who wants to say the full thing anyway?
It's too many
Too
syllables.
many.
What about like a wee L Derry? No?
Well, I mean, depends
Derry?
how thick your sash is. So yeah, grew up in Derry. Left Derry when I was 18, but you cannot leave the accent behind. No. Doesn't go.
No.
Like I'm 15 years. I've not lived in Derry, so quick maths. That means I'm. Oh shit! No wonder you're a footballer.
No, don't point to me. She's
33.
a smart one.
Well
Yeah,
done. Yeah, but you still have such a thick Derry accent. It doesn't leave you. I loved living in Derry. Not at the time when I left it. No, like you don't. I think you don't realise at the time that you like where you live's a lovely place.
Yeah.
And then you move to Belfast and you're all, fuck, Derry was nice, wasn't it? Do you know, people in Derry are known for being really, really friendly.
Yeah.
I'm not a good representation of that. But people in Derry are super, super friendly. And when you go back, like when I go back to Derry, I always feel just like at ease straight away. Like I'm almost like I'm on my holidays or something. Like because everyone's just so chatty and so friendly and so nice. Not that they're not like that in other parts of the north, because they are, but I just have obviously a special place in my heart.
So Belfast, not friendly in Belfast, no?
No. No, we're joking. No, yes, absolutely. But just, I remember moving to Belfast when I was 18. I was going to uni and my daddy was all to me, do not say your surname, because it's Doherty, but I know everyone says Doherty down here,
Right.
but in Derry we say Doherty. Say my own name. That's a different story. That's my only family.
My
name.
alter ego.
Yeah. And I was like, don't say your surname. They'll know straight away. And I was like, no, what? And he was all that you're Catholic. And I was like, but we're not. We don't believe in God. And he was like, but you know what I mean. And then because we were raised like quite atheist. And then it was all like, if you're ringing a taxi, give a fake name, because they'll know, and just don't say Derry, don't say London, don't say anything. And I was like, fuck.
Don't speak.
It's like going to Belfast, going, Jesus Christ, I'm not getting into the fucking the war zone here. Like, it's
The lines
mad.
then.
I moved to Belfast to go to uni, and it was the loveliest place. I remember ringing my dad going, I think I'm in more danger in Derry than I am in Belfast. It's fine down here, we're okay.
Where did you go to uni?
Queen's, but it was shite.
It
Right,
was.
okay.
Did you go
Hated it.
Queen's?
Yeah, hated it.
What did you do?
History and theology.
Oh, that's
I know,
why.
like
Maybe
who
it
does
wasn't
that?
the uni. Maybe it was the subject.
No, but I did drama, which you would think is brilliant crap.
Yeah.
Shit.
Really?
Yeah.
Queen's was just a
it was
bit-
just shit. It was like, I remember day one, and like I went to do a drama course. Now, listen, I wanted to be an actor, / anything in front of the camera, right? And I was like 18, and I wanted to go to London or something, right? But also, while a lot of effort. And I was like, I had a boyfriend at the time, and I was like, I'm not leaving him. Sure, we're going to get married any day now. And then moved to Belfast and split up with him 6 weeks later, because I was like, whoa, Belfast guys are good looking. And went to
So
Belfast.
he was from Derry?
Yes.
Right.
So
So
stinking.
you had to do long
joke,
distance.
that's
Long
Fault
distance, hey, for that shocking far.
Yes.
So far.
Up and down the 212. Went straight past.
No, here, talk to me about that 212. I spent my life on it.
Why?
I'm from Macfelt.
I suppose you had a shorter journey.
This is much shorter, like, but if you fall
You're
asleep
just a
on that,
2-1.
then you end up and.
Do you ever get the other one by accident? The one that goes through Oma? Fuck.
Oh no, here I wouldn't. I never did that.
That's
now,
going
no.
to the eye of the hurricane. I don't know, whatever it is, the phrase is. But I went I got on the wrong. There's the 212 that goes Belfast to Derry up a Glenshane Pass. That's the route you want to take.
Yeah.
Right? It's like, it used to be like an hour and a half. It's about 2 hours now. Don't know why, because they built that new road. Pure bullshit.
Still.
But the other one, you get on, it's like 253 or something, Belfast to Derry via
Via
Oma.
That's a bit of a trek.
Other way. And I remember I was about 18 and I got on the bus to go to Derry and I did it. I fell asleep. And I remember waking up going, oh shit, I'm like in Afghanistan or something. I don't know how I've gotten to Oma. Like I don't know where Oma is on the map. I don't know if I now need to get off this bus and find a plane. I don't know what the hell's happening.
Yeah.
But finally got to Derry, obviously, and it was just like, that took 3 hours. And I just couldn't understand why anybody would want a longer route to Derry. But then I realised some people need to go to Oma.
Oh, brilliant.
Yeah, but so yeah, whenever I was living in Belfast, I was like, did my first day in drama in Queen's, and I remember the tutor walking on and being like, this is not a vocational course. Most of you aren't going to be actors. Most of you here will not be performers. Like, some of you might work in the theatre world, but a lot of it will be like behind the scenes and whatever else. And I remember just being, oh, Jesus.
Day one.
Shit. And that was the tone that was set. And then we did all these modules on like existentialism or something. I mean, that's how well I did it.
Yeah, really took
and like
it in.
history and business and all these other things.
All the theory. And
To me, it was absolutely shit. I did not enjoy it at all. But one of the funnest days ever was when we had to pretend to be a bag of sand for about an hour. Like, you had to. Remember, I think I've talked about this in other podcasts, but we literally had to stand as if we were a bag of sand, like this here. And
What
like
for?
a sack of sand, an exercise of fucking resilience or something. And then it was like every couple of seconds some more sand is being released from a hole at the bottom of the bag, and you're gonna become smaller and become smaller. And I think basically the winner was somebody like who's now gonna like win a part in something. Obviously not. It's the person who can do it the slowest. And I think that was just the tutor going, I cannot be hooped.
I can't think of anything to
The
do
fusions
today.
can just take as long as possible to become this, to like let the sand release out of your sacks.
Oh, wow.
Then I'll my whole lesson will be passed. So I did. What did you do? Did you go to uni?
I did over just outside Liverpool. So
Oh.
I lived Liverpool way for like 9 years.
Oh my god!
Yeah. So like went straight over there, did uni. Like lifestyle was incredible. Liverpool, great city. Like,
My stepson's at uni in Liverpool right now.
oh yeah, what
Yeah.
uni?
Hope.
Oh,
I
okay,
think
yeah.
or John Murs is one of the two.
Well, I mean, so,
Oh my god! I think he may be in John Murs. Yeah, it's terrible. He's literally at my house right now. Like, he's home for Christmas, and he doesn't do much.
right, okay. Well, I mean, it's going to be one of the two, or uni off. There's three.
No, there's not that. He's in one of the
He's-
proper ones.
Well, to be fair, I didn't go to any of them two, so God knows which one.
It's like calling Belfast.
I went to
mad, isn't it?
Magill, so it's outside Liverpool in a little town called Ormskirk.
It's not a real
How
one.
did- No, it's not real. Yeah,
It
it's
was
like
no, do you
some
know what?
community hall. It was just her being taught.
It was a cracking
Just her
uni.
and the priest.
I get this. So I actually applied. John Murs was my first choice for a sports degree, and I
Right.
didn't get in.
What was the
Right.
qualification? What did you need? What was the
I got it
criteria?
for him. No, but I got it for him.
Was it
Passed all my-
oversubscribed?
Don't know, but I didn't get in, and I'm a professional footballer. To a sports degree.
Were you professional at the time?
Well, I was playing international and all. That was all on my stuff. Didn't
Oh
get
my
in.
god!
So I went to
Do you know
Edge
why
Hill, but
the extracurricular stuff didn't matter? Unless it was.
I did all the extra stuff in high school to get the extra UCAS points and all. Like I hosted like wee parties and all. You know, to get.
Do you see if I was the person letting people into uni and they were a dickhead like you doing loads of extracurricular UCAS shit? I would go, see for being such a swat. Get the fuck. You're
Well,
not
do you
getting
know
in.
what? I'm glad I didn't go to John Murs because Edge Hill was cracking.
That's good. So did you do sports science or
No,
sports?
not science. It was coaching.
Oh, coaching.
Yeah,
Oh,
so-
that's what. No, it's not.
I mean, she's still at uni, by
No,
the way.
here,
She's still
like,
trying.
I'm a
finish
PhD
it.
now. You know when you fall into
She's
something.
not in her
PhD
undergrad.
Well, I'm trying to. So you know
That's
when you
nice.
fall into something and like I only went there because it gave me somewhere to live
Yes.
because I wanted to play football.
Oh, okay.
So I like fell into it, and then like it didn't really fall out of it. So I was like, did my undergrad, and I was like, I'll do a master's for the crack. Did that, and I was like, sure, we'll do a PhD. Yeah.
What are you doing your PhD? What are you hoping to do your PhD in?
Oh, see, it's really like this is how into it I am. It's really hard to answer. Like it's in sociology in
Right.
sport, so it's looking like at human behaviours and like social like encounters basically, but looking at coaches and like
Within sports people?
within sports coaches, yeah. It is
That's really interesting.
no, see when I flick that switch on in my brain, it's fascinating.
And isn't the way a PhD works is that nobody can have written something on that specific that
So
has
this
been
is
you?
like I have found the gap. So like my undergrad
what she
People
said.
will quote you in the future.
So I did my undergrad, right, and published a paper from that.
Yeah.
So published writer, I didn't really do an awful lot of the work. It was my tutors like really
Yeah,
helped
okay.
me publish that paper, which sounds great. But then in that there was a gap, so then I fulfilled that gap by doing my masters.
Yes.
So I've basically just made up the whole thing.
Oh yeah,
Do you know what I mean?
But even like so, whenever I was at uni, I dropped out after my first year and then went to Belfast Met. Thanks very much for slagging it. 30 seconds ago.
I thought you didn't hear that.
About 2 seconds ago, so I definitely went there for 2 years. Did performing arts. Of course, it's closed down now. I think once
There you go.
It is. I think once I like graduated from that course, they were like, "We're done. We've completed it.
Right.
That's as far as we're gonna get." And then I went back to Queen's, but I literally was like, if I just keep staying here for another while, I can like stay living
Yeah.
nearby, have a student loan, just have some fun.
Yeah.
No, honestly,
Postpone
yeah.
reality for a while.
Yes, postpone having to be an adult.
Yeah.
Go into the adult world. Yeah.
But and I still get the student discount now, and I'm 28. It's great.
Do you?
Aye.
Oh, yes.
So like I did the PhD, and it was part time, meant to be 4 years, but I delayed it for a year, and also I'm still going. So I got 2 years left.
Yeah, my brother's doing that. He's in his age, older than me. He's in his mid-30s, and he's like been doing PhDs and masters for a fucking age, so he can still continue, even though he's like he's got 3 kids and all, and he's like married and a mortgage, and he's all, I'm gonna keep trying to be a student.
No, honestly. But so I mean, hopefully I make it to the end because I just want to be called doctor. Like,
Yes.
you know, like how cool would that be?
Yes, but the thing is, do you not think people will be expecting you to do other like better things than you're capable of?
Well, this is it. Like,
Do you know what I mean?
it just looks cool, really. I think, you know.
Yeah, but like, do you know? Like, imagine being on a flight though, or like being somewhere, somebody is not well, and you're all
Oh, there's a doctor back there.
Yeah.
Aye, a doctor in
She'll-
sport.
yeah, and you're lying there like somebody needs the fucking Heimlich maneuver, and you're maneuver, and you're like, so if
I
a
can
coach
do
was
10.
here, this
I
is
can
how
do
they
10
would interact.
kick-ups, so you want that?
I'll entertain you while you're dying.
Aye, so uni, aye. It's the right laugh. So still flag, like, waving that flag, you know.
But you know what as well? I remember last year or maybe 2 years ago, I was doing my taxes, and I was all, I don't think I've been paying back my shit. No, like I feel like there's been like a glitch in the system here or something, you know. And I rang them up, and I was all, just want to be honest, guys. It's all. It's been like 10 years since I've been shitting, but I don't think I've been paying back the student loan. That's all. I just feel like I haven't been, and it's hard when you're self-employed because it doesn't. You don't know.
You have to
don't
do
know
it all.
what-
Yeah.
You have to do all yourself
Go
and
and
all.
where.
It's very confusing.
Yeah.
And I was all, and then they were like, no, you've been paying it back for like years, and I was all, well, that's good. I'll take the cuffs off. I was about to put myself
You're
away.
handing yourself in.
Yeah.
Oh, brilliant.
Because you just don't realise. Adulting is so hard though. Like and I sound miserable now. Like I'm a parent as well, and I'm all, adulting's so hard. It is. Like,
How many kids have you got?
I've got one.
One.
Yeah, and 3 stepkids.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When's this going out?
Well, soon, maybe, like, hopefully within the next month.
Okay. Yes. Anyway, I've got one, and I've got like 3 stepkids. I'm like saying that like I'm gonna like adopt some by then.
I was like, where's this going? Like,
You're gonna
so there
announce
are
there's another
4
one on the
children
way.
that live in my house. I don't birth them all, but I'm raising
Yeah.
4,
Right, yes.
4 kids basically. But it's even just like, joking out, like you're married, aren't you?
Yes.
And then do you know, like dishing out fucking, like my husband won't do, like he'll never read mail. He doesn't read the letters that come through the door, and you have to like, he doesn't like, he's asthmatic, and he's needed a blue inhaler. This is all very ridiculous stuff. He's needed a blue inhaler for 6 weeks, and I hear him going on the blue inhaler that he has, getting the drag ends out of it, and I'm like, it's John, stop it, just make the phone call and get your prescription. So the other day I rang up and got his prescription reordered, and then I went to collect a couple of days later from the chemist, and they were like, it's not in because he's left it so long since the last one that they now want to review him because they're like, he mustn't need an inhaler anymore. And I was like, you're an idiot. You've been dying for 6 weeks, and now they want to review you, which you'll not go do because you're a man.
I won't like encounter the problem until it's like smacking me in the face,
Aye.
you know, like
Yeah.
I don't even have a
That's like
doctor's.
a-
I'm not re-registered with the doctor, so I was trying to get away.
That's why you look so well.
I was trying to get away with just like, I'll not tell them that I've moved house and they'll never figure it out. If I ever need to go to a doctor, I'll just go to my family
Sorry,
doctors,
they're
which
not
is out in
after
Dromara.
you.
Right. And then I got this letter sent to my house saying, we know that you've now moved. We don't want you anymore.
Well, that's
my
it, because it
God.
has to be within
It
the
has to be
area.
within
Yeah,
the area.
it is
So I was
so
like,
bad.
balls, right, I need to go and get another one. So I got the forms and stuff. That probably took me about 6 months to just go and pick up
Yeah.
the forms. And I still haven't filled them out. I think I
Yeah.
put my name in and that the date, which was probably 2020.
You need a new form now.
I need new
Yeah.
form now because it's no
That- no.
longer valid.
But it's so funny that you're.
And I don't have a dentist
we
either.
We know you've moved. Do you like a friend you haven't told? When are we going to tell us? Bitch. Yeah.
Yeah, we see you.
Yeah.
I was like, as if they will care. How do they know that I've moved?
Oh, they find a way.
Do you know why? Your COVID jag.
What COVID jab? Let's not get into that.
Do you remember everyone was like, they're going to find out everything? They know everything already. Don't be silly. I moved house like last December, and moving house is stressful,
Oh,
isn't
here I have moved. Like I want to say every year for like the last.
it? It's brutal.
Shocking, isn't
So
it?
stressful. Like I think especially when you're moving kids and like all the shit. Like my daughter was like 8 months whenever we moved, and like I remember like the guy came with the van to like load up all the shit. And like my husband was back from taking other shit somewhere, and I was like standing there with the baby, being all, "Me cannot help you, mate. Like you're gonna have to lift this bed by yourself."
Yeah,
and he
yeah.
was like, "I need someone else to help," and I was like, "I'm busy. I got a baby in my arms."
Yeah.
And then we literally had to stand there and have small talk for like an hour before my husband came back, and I was like, I cannot, like, because if I put her down, she'll scream. That's how she behaves.
I'd rather have a screaming baby than do small talk with some man with a removal van.
Oh, but then I'd have to do small talk whilst heave hoeing a bed under his van. Do you know what I mean? So I'll do it from the comfort of my sofa.
Oh no. Oh well, we had to clear out my family home recently. And oh my goodness, the stuff that we came across.
Oh,
my
was
dad
it
was
from
like,
years?
I'm not paying for a skip. Have you seen what you have to pay for a skip? I was like, Dad, have you seen what is in our roof space? And then he was like, right, I'll just get like the smallest skip possible. And like it was filled in no time. And then about 2 days before we were they were about to sell the house. This is like 2 days before they're meant to be out of the house. And we were clearing everything out. And then all of a sudden, we just hear this crash. And my dad's like, oh my God. And we came up the stairs, Dad had fallen through.
You're
the
joking.
roof space.
Oh my God.
And the house, the new people are meant to be moving into the house in like 2 days' time.
Oh my God.
And my dad's legs like dangling through the roof space into the shower. And we were like,
What on earth are we doing? Get the toolbox out quick. The masking tape, they'll never notice.
Oh my goodness.
I'm assuming he's got it fixed before, or is he still there?
Just left them there.
They go to get their
Peeled
first
on
shower,
top
and
of
he's
the
like,
shower.
I can't move. I'm just going to be here.
Oh God.
Whenever I was pregnant, this is so silly, but do you know the way, so we were in the process of buying a house, and do you know the way when people are pregnant they have like aversions, like things that make them sick, like it might be like the smell of coffee, or it might be like whatever it is. And for me, it was looking at anything to do with DIY on Instagram.
That is so random.
Like it's usually smells or like tastes for me. It was like if I see a before and after photograph of someone's bathroom, I'll fucking book. It was
Seriously.
so weird, right?
How on earth do you even figure that out?
Because I'd follow a lot of stuff like that on Instagram, and every time I would look at somebody painting their kitchen, I'd be like, I have to turn this off. So I had to like stop following all the DIY accounts, any like home decor. I thought, I can't even look at you guys right now. We pulled out of the sale of buying this house because it needed painted. I was all, I cannot go ahead with this. I cannot move into a house that I have to like get painted and get people to come in and put shelves up and all, because I will boke looking at them.
That is
And even if I know
phenomenal.
what's happening, I'll feel sick. And I was so sick that I was like, we pulled out of the sale of that house.
That is one of the most ridiculous things I've
So
ever heard.
silly.
Isn't it?
Yeah.
So did you
Don't
move
regret
into
it.
a turnkey?
No, we didn't. We just waited until I wasn't pregnant to move, and then I could paint the house. But I was like, this is the stupidest aversion anyone has ever had. It's nothing to do with smell or a taste. It's just DIY accounts. And then I've since
What
been
was
able.
your husband saying? I'm sure he was like,
Cracking
would you wise up?
No, I think he went, yeah, this is pretty standard for you. This seems like normal behaviour. He's like, yeah, he was one bit surprised. He's like, yeah, I expected for something to be
Something ridiculous,
something rare.
Oh
yeah.
wow, that is
I know.
so funny.
That and the taste of my own mouth. So like my own spit, like my own tongue, the taste of my own mouth made me want to throw up. And I'll tell you what, Gersh, you can't get away from that.
Right, okay.
It's there all the time. So the whole time I was pregnant, I thought, I cannot wait to stop tasting my own fucking mouth.
Goodness me.
So weird. I know, yeah.
So were you just flat out brushing your teeth and like
That would have been a good idea, actually. Yeah. I was just flat out eating stuff.
Okay,
So I could taste other things, or
Right,
like
okay, yeah.
sucking sweets or mints, or just I was like, I cannot bear the taste. And like even if my husband like was to come over and give me a kiss, I'd be like, even your mouth. Like,
Just get away from me.
All mouths
Yeah.
need to go away.
Wow. Goodness
Did you
me.
have any weird cravings?
To not be pregnant.
Oh, all right.
No.
An enjoyable experience.
Oh, the
I know why.
worst. It's brutal. Brutal. It's the worst. It's awful. And I feel I can say that because I did IVF to have my daughter, so I spent years trying to get pregnant. So I feel more than qualified to go, it's fucking brutal. Do you know what I mean? Like, listen, I wanted it so much, and it was still the worst experience of my whole life. Like, I don't know, these people who are like, it's like, you're just like, no, shit.
I like embracing it and all, yeah.
But then some people, like, because I remember being pregnant and being like massive and swollen and sick and like hating, couldn't even look at a wonky shelf without crying. And I was like, this is the worst. And then other people would be like, oh, I could have kept my wee one on for even longer. I love being pregnant. No, I'm going to murder you. You talk to me again.
I know, I see so many people like on Instagram like that, you know,
Yeah.
like who are just embracing it and everything. I was like, I think I'd be a nightmare.
Yeah. Or people who put up lovely, like, are constantly putting up outfit photographs and all.
Oh,
yeah.
How do you have time to get dressed?
And just the updates throughout the process. I don't know whether you were someone who was like,
No.
here's day 200 and whatever.
Well, I was also really
200.
sensitive about the fact that I had done IVF and that so many people do IVF and so many people struggle to get pregnant, and infertility is such a huge thing that nobody really talks about. But like, it affects most people. Like, it's like whether it affects you, it's usually somebody in your family or somebody you know. So I never wanted to post online about being pregnant or anything.
Yeah, that's fair.
Whenever I was sort of 20 odd weeks, my husband did do a post and be like, we're having a baby, because I was starting to show and people were seeing it, people were asking.
Will ask,
so I was like, okay, I'm going to have to say something, because I'd rather people know that than like, fuck, she's putting on weight, you know. She's getting fat. So we did say it online, but then that was the end of that, because you feel this isn't going to be funny, but you feel hugely guilty when you get pregnant.
Yeah.
As somebody who tried to get pregnant for so long, because I would have been in these forums online with other people who were going through fertility treatment.
Yeah.
And you feel like, and the first thing you think of is, oh fuck, how can I tell them I'm pregnant? I just
Yeah.
want to leave the group.
You
straight
just
away,
don't want to
because
bring it up. Yeah.
you don't want to go, oh, here, listen, do you know what thing we're all trying to do? I did it, bye. And you feel really bad.
Yeah.
So you feel so guilty. So you be really sensitive about, I remember years of, especially those like pajama photographs at Christmas and all those sort of things.
Yeah.
And you're like, those are triggering for people. So I would be very careful about the things that I post with regards to like pregnancy and having a baby and how class family is and all, because I would rather go, it's so shit. See everyone trying, don't it's so shit. That's a son.
Well, we just have a dog. That's our baby at the minute.
Yeah.
And that's a handful.
What do you call your
enough.
dog?
Patty.
Oh my god, I love when dogs have human names. My cousin had a dog called Frank, and I loved that.
Yeah.
Frank the pug.
Patty the pug.
Patty the pug.
Oh, he's a character. He is. He's honestly, he is my child.
Yeah.
I put wee coats and all on him.
Oh really?
Oh, he's got Instagram and all.
He's
Like
got an
he's
account, yeah.
he's
Is he
famous.
called Patty the pug?
Patty the pug guy.
Do you know what's funny about whenever do you have any animals?
No.
No. Whatever.
Mike.
Whatever. This is your husband.
Yes.
Yeah. Whenever you. Careful about calling you your husband.
Careful what you say now. He's in the room.
Because people treat dogs like they're babies, because they are. Though I know how like close to like having a child, a dog is to people, because there's just, you get so much. And there's so much, look, I think it's because you put so much work into your dog.
Oh, wow.
So it's effort and it's a lot of work, and then it feels like a family member and a baby and stuff. I have a cat. Couldn't give a fuck.
No.
But cats are like, they're so independent, aren't they?
Yeah. You don't have to do any, like, rearing.
They look after themselves.
Yeah. And like, proudly. Like, they don't want to. My cat has 3 legs. My cat got knocked down.
Oh, no.
And I know. I can't find
What's
his
the
leg.
cat called? What's the cat called?
Buttons. What'd you say? Tripod. No, it's called Buttons, and like he lost his leg, and we didn't lose it. Well, we know where. Like we took it off.
You still have it?
Yeah, but I remember going into the vet whenever. So he'd been knocked down, and he was like, God love me, like scrambled through somebody else's cat flap into their house and was found in their bin trying to eat stuff, leg hanging off him. Right, God love him. And we went down, and they described the condition of his leg as degloved. All the skin was off.
Oh, no, stop it.
I was awful. And the wee, thank God love me. He was only about 6 months. He was a kitten, like, and he was a God love him. And then, but the vet was horrible. I was all, what are we going to, at this stage, I did treat him like my baby.
Yeah.
I care.
Yeah.
For
like
5 minutes.
I cared at the time.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the vet was all, probably just going to put him down. Just a cat. And I was all, like, she was so insensitive, so cold. And I thought, to be fair, she's probably very desensitized to, like, degloved animal legs because she's just used to like this sort of shit day in, day out. And I was all, no way. And she was all, yeah. And she goes, or we could just take off the leg. And I was like, both of those options are like fucking
horrific.
Yeah, hostile. So they just took off the leg. And he's grand. A cat can bounce back from that, no bother. A dog, 3 legs.
No, I had a dog, a family dog that had 3 legs actually.
Really?
So he got in a fight with another dog and got a really bad like infection in his leg. It was too bad. They were like, we're gonna have to remove the leg. And he led such a happy wee life with his wee 3 legs.
Was it the front or the back?
Front. Yeah. I think at the back they have a wheel. You know where they put a wheel
At
up.
the front they don't.
No, he just
Going back to the wheels.
he just like hopped along. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And he had a happy wee life.
Were either of those dogs smart dogs? Because you get dopey dogs.
Yeah, like Paddy, right?
Pugs
Paddy.
are dopey, aren't they?
Aye. Paddy couldn't have 3 legs because he would just like topple over because he's a bit
rounded.
Matt, always a wee fat pug.
No, Paddy's actually quite in shape. Like
It's just after Christmas, though. Give him.
No, but
He's been-
like we weighed
No, he
food.
did put weight
He put weight on, but then he went on a strict
couldn't even
diet.
put that bib around his neck that we got in Born and Bred.
Strangling him like it was.
Oh my God.
Because they only had like one size fits all, but
That's
pugs
rude.
don't have a neck.
That's
It's
all.
like like that, isn't it?
Aren't they like genetically engineered or something? Like we've created pugs.
Yeah.
They weren't like a natural thing.
No, like there wasn't pugs like years
Yeah.
and years ago.
Back with Jesus. Jesus doesn't have a pug. Could you imagine Jesus with a pug? I don't even believe in Jesus, but he probably had a pug.
So Paddy's on like we weigh his food, like strict diet, and he kind of comes in at his back end instead of just straight, you know.
What do you mean, walks into your room backwards?
No. I mean, like if you look at Paddy's shape, his body shape, he comes in. He's got like a wee.
Oh, he's got a wee waist.
Yeah, he's got a wee waistline. So like you'll look at him and be like, "Here, that dog's in good shape.
Yes.
He's in good nick."
He's been doing crunches.
But if you see other pugs, you're like, "That pug's really fat," you know.
Yeah. My brother has a dog. I don't know what it is. It's like not like a fancy dog. It's just a dog. Like that's his son because all dogs are
Beautiful.
beautiful.
Oh, aye.
All dogs are dogs.
No, they are.
But he was saying to me recently, like his dog's really dopey. Like he would just like lie around sleeping all day. Dream dog. You want a dopey dog?
Yeah.
Also, side note, you want a dopey baby. My child is a fucking high achiever and it's so exhausting. Right? But he would like his dog would sit and like say he sat down and if you go to him paw like, and he goes to give you a paw, he'll go all off balance and fall over. He's dopey. And my brother's like, whilst he's sitting down, he has the anchor of his arse on the ground and he's all woo. Like, he just can't. He's just a bit shit. But he's a nice wee dog. I'm not a dog. Do you know what? I'm not a pet person.
Neither am
I've had
I.
a cat for years, but I do love my cat. I've loved my cat for years. But we just could be doing out the extra. I just could be. He meows a lot. Do you know what I
Shocking
mean?
that,
I know.
like,
It's just like he is a really loud wee cat. He meows constantly. I'll tell you what. Have you ever heard 2 cats fighting?
No.
Holy shit. First time, I remember waking up in the middle of the night and my husband was away in England somewhere and I was in the house by myself. It was before, like, I was the one there and before we had a daughter or anything. And I just heard this like this banshee noise, and I was like, well, this is how I get murdered now. I'm dying. This is
it. This is the end for me.
yeah. And I was like, what's happened is some guy's broken into my house and he's standing in my
He's
kitchen
gonna
going,
unleash a cat. You're gonna open the door and he's just got a cat.
he's going to be a huge cat. and I went downstairs because I've got balls of steel, and my cat was up against the like doors, like the glass doors.
Yeah.
Just like in a standoff with another cat outside. They're both like whacking the door and just like going at each other. Like if you've never heard that noise, it is like soul destroying. Like it goes through you. Like you really be like somebody somewhere is getting murdered. That's what that sign. That's the worst. And then I was like, actually, I'm delighted because I've survived this night.
That's it. And you live to tell the story now.
Yeah, it's just cats are brutal. I think my cat votes DUP.
So anyway, then
no, one more story about cats, right? You're gonna be like, how is this a cat story? But my brother can't take credit for this story. My brother told me this story last week about a friend of his who is a doctor in Scotland, and they had this woman, this massive big woman, come to A&E, right? They had to like, I think, basically get a crane to like get her out of the ambulance.
Sorry,
they got her in the hospital.
There, but see if you've gotten to the stage in your life where a crane needs to take you anywhere. I think really have a word. Do you know what I mean? Like we all come in different shapes and sizes, but if a crane is your means of transport,
well,
have a word.
If she wasn't having a word by this point, then just wait till we get to the end of the story.
Oh,
right?
Cara, where's this going?
So she's into the hospital, and he has to get like a couple of nurses to basically like help him out. So she said that she'd been having she had this really bad pain. She's just generally unwell, but she'd been complaining about this really bad smell as well. Oh. And so he gets the nurses to come in and help him out, and he's like, right, we're gonna have to lift like fold by fold, like skin at a time. That big. And
like Channel 4 documentary.
She's like, yeah, this is 272 kilos. This one.
Kilos.
42 stone. Yes.
Wow.
Should have mentioned that. And then
the crane went.
The crane started breaking down.
That is crazy. Right, go on ahead.
So they're like, right, 1, 2, 3, lift, and then like push, the skin folds up. So eventually they get to this fold. 1, 2, 3, lift. Out falls a dead kitten.
Oh.
Dead kitten. So that was the smell that rotted.
I've never heard anything like this in my life.
I could not believe this.
Inside a fold?
Yeah, just like underneath a fold of her skin.
Go and imagine that's the way you leave this earth. Is you get trapped in between a woman's 2 belly folds and fucking die there because you can't find a way out. That's how you leave this earth. That is so shit even for a cat. That cat deserves to be knocked down, lose a leg, and then live a bit.
I haven't heard anything like that in my life.
And then, so, no? Can't tell it. No, I'm telling it. So
where is this? How can it actually get any worse?
She's still feeling a bit unwell, right? So we need to do a scan.
Oh no.
There's
a ferret up her hip.
Then they were like, how do we scan her? She's not going to fit in an MRI scan. You know, like they're pretty small for like most people. It'd be claustrophobic. So did they take her to the zoo?
To get scanned. Oh, poor woman. That's mad. Oh, that feels so lousy. I'm not going to laugh at that. I won't.
We need to
Bitches, I ain't
this.
getting cancelled on this podcast.
Right, I'm going to change the subject.
Oh, God, love her. But here, the dead cat. That's mad.
Yeah, the cat. I know.
That is a fucking great
What
story.
a story.
And like, how would you not?
So why did she
didn't know like that was what the smell was.
Was that their problem to begin with? She was like, there's a really bad smell. But why was she feeling unwell?
I don't know what the outcome of that was. The scan maybe told us.
Well, that's true, yeah. Why wasn't she feeling total...
I've never heard anything like that in my life.
Unbelievable.
But here we are.
Sorry, you were going to change the topic.
I was going to change the topic and go back to you and comedy.
Yeah, please.
You know what we're here to talk about, not cranes and cats stuck in belly folds. So how did comedy start for you then?
Being really funny. No. Do you know what? It's a tricky one because whenever I was at Queen's doing that relationship course I was telling you about, I ended up in a sketch group with like 10 other people in Belfast, and we would do like a show like every like 2 years. We were called Friday Night Therapy. A few of the comedians on the circuit now were also in that sketch group. Dave Elliott, Aaron Butler. So we were all in this sketch group together, and it was good fun. It was great, and that was like my first taste of comedy. I'd always been somebody who enjoyed making people laugh or whatever, but hadn't made any money out of it yet, I suppose. And then so in that sketch group there was then some guys from the BBC there at one of our shows and invited me to audition for a show called Sketchy, which was on BBC years ago. It was a sketch show. And I ended up doing a few scenes. Me and Kieran Bartlett did some scenes on that. And then I think everybody was on that. I think Mickey Bartlett was on it, and I think Shane was on it, and I think everybody was like, it was the very start of all of our careers. So like it must have been 12 years ago, maybe longer. Yeah. And 13 years ago maybe. And then so I was an actor. That's what I was doing, and but I just ended up getting comedy parts all the time. Like that's sort of where things were naturally going. I was like, no, like I wanted to do drama. Serious? Yeah, I want to be an actor. Do you remember that day I was pretending to be a bag of sand? Give me Line of Duty. But I was getting stuff like Dairy Girls and Soft Border Patrol and Give Me Headpiece and all those sort of comedy shows, and then. It was my husband, who's a stand-up comedian as well, Sean Higgerty. He was the one that was like, you need to try stand-up. I was already in the stand-up circles of doing like sketches and stuff, and I think everyone thought I already did stand-up, but I didn't. I wasn't doing stand-up until a few years ago. And then I did a bridesmaid speech at my friend's wedding.
Right,
okay. And I did it, and it was like a 10-minute long speech, and I like made it funny, and my husband was all to me, that's it. That's what stand-up is. And I was like, oh, maybe I could do it. And he was like, and that was like the turning point for me going, oh, maybe I could, because I know I just stood there for 10 minutes making people laugh out of stuff I'd written. Although that audience, a wedding audience is a bit biased because you're telling them story. No, they were actually laughing.
It was the champagne.
Like when they were laughing at somebody behind me. And then he was like, give stand-up a go. So that was only about maybe like a year and a half before the pandemic started. And then maybe not even, but a year and a half before the pandemic started, and then I was like, I'll try stand up then, and then that's where stand up came from. So it was definitely my husband that was like giving me the heave ho. Otherwise, I probably would never had the balls to do it because it's the worst thing ever.
Well, that's what I was going to ask. Like, what must that? I always wonder this about comedians. Like standing up there, what if no one laughs?
Yeah, that happens. It's the best as well. The thing is, it's like being in the paramilitaries, right? Like once you're in, you can't get out.
Right, okay.
That's it. Yeah. You're there for life. Because you're never gonna stop on a bad gig because you're like, I can do better than that.
Right, okay.
And you're never gonna stop on a great gig because you're like, I'm class. Right, yeah. So it's just so hard to stop, and it's like a drug. Like it's brilliant. Like I absolutely love doing it, and I always. The first sort of year or two that I was doing stand-up, it was almost like I was like, no, I still want to be taken serious as an actor. I want to like still do like drama. Yeah. But things were, then I was like, then I got the Blame Game, and it was like, okay, things were really moving towards like comedy and comedy panel shows and that sort of stuff. And I was like, maybe I'll just lean into this for a few years and see where this goes. Yeah. So that's what I've decided to do, and I'm no longer crying into my pillow about Line of Duty and stuff like that. I'm like, I've just accepted that comedy is my route for now, you know.
Yeah.
But it's like doing stand up is special because like anything can happen. You know, I used to be so rigid with like my material where I was like, I'm like gonna like say it like a script. I'm gonna like just do the bits exactly as I've written them, and I'm gonna, if anyone talks to me, I'll fucking die. I'm just gonna ignore them and move on. Yeah. And then as you get more comfortable on stage, you're like, okay, good things can come from me chatting to the audience. And actually it might not be funny, it might be shite, but maybe there's a funny thing will come from it, and then I can write it into the next time, you know. But it's like anything, it's like, you know, training, you know, the more you do, the better you get.
Yeah, and there's nothing you can do in training that'll prepare you for match day. Same way, there's nothing like, you can't write it and say it exactly how it is, because you've got to feel it on the night, I suppose.
Because it's like, so there's a comedians boxing tournament coming up soon.
Yes, I've seen that, yeah.
I want to say tournament, that's not really, just like a charity
Thing,
boxing,
yeah.
a white collar
Yeah,
boxing
white
thing,
collar.
and I'm not doing it, but lots of the
gonna
comedians are
say.
doing it. And but I did a white collar boxing thing before, and it's because I was talking to a few of them about it who have no experience in boxing. Not that I do, but like 10 years ago, I did do 6 classes and then got in the ring. So, and it's like you're saying about all the training that you do, you learn about like technique and, you know, just what do you call them, like you know, routines or whatever the fuck it is. But none of that matters. As soon as you go into the
as the bell
ring or
goes.
you go you play a game, it's like you just a lot of unless you're highly disciplined and have been training for years, so it'll be different for you guys. You everything you learned goes out the window.
You think on your feet. You have to be adaptable
Yeah.
so quickly and respond to something. So if you ask the audience something, like being able to respond to that, you have to be quick, eh?
And you get better at it.
Yeah, I bet, yeah.
But there's 2 things that I think are a real downside from being in comedy. One is that you lose sight of where the line is completely.
Yeah.
Everyone I'm surrounded, my husband's a comedian. My friend, like one of my best friends, a comedy writer. Like I'm usually if I'm gigging, it's with always men comedians,
Yes.
and you lose sight of where the line is.
Yeah.
And I'd be like, is that offensive? I don't know. I'm not offended by it because you can't offend me by
Yes.
anything.
No,
Yeah.
exactly.
And I don't think there's really much that's off limits to
Yeah.
make fun about
Yeah.
if you're doing it smartly and you're talking about the right thing. But sometimes I'll say things or I'll write things in a script and like a producer will come back and be all, you can't say that. And I'm like, oh, can you not? Because I think that's funny.
Yeah.
But like you lose sight of where the line is. The other thing is you're dead inside. Like because of years of doing stuff like auditions that you do not like they say you get like 1 in 20 auditions. I've gotten less than 1 in 20 auditions. And you know, just so many times where you hear no's or you just don't get things. Like it's way more rejection than it is ever like progression in entertainment. And because of that, you get quite numb. So very little bothers me. Like
Yeah.
and that's bullshit. I'm up to high Joe all the time. But I mean, like, you can't offend me.
Yeah.
Or, like, you can't... If I read bad things about me online, I swear it is like I'm reading them about somebody who I don't know.
Yeah.
It doesn't... Like, none of it bothers me. You could say anything about even my family online. I wouldn't even give a shit. I just don't care.
Yeah.
So the downside, I think, of the large volume of rejections of being in entertainment is that you do become really numb to it all. I suppose it's a coping mechanism, which makes you,
That's it.
So it
Do you
makes
think you have to be like that though to be a comedian?
I think you can't get precious about like. I think as well. So I was asked to do a thing, just like to give a piece of advice because I'm so wisdomy.
Wisdomy, that's a good
So
start.
wise.
You're so full of wisdom. Yeah.
For Jordan Humphreys, who does a Q radio show, she's a thing on a Wednesday called Gear Talk, which is like a wee section with a woman. And I had said, if you think of something that's funny, just say it.
Yeah.
And if people don't laugh, find a new audience. Because somebody will laugh somewhere. But I remember growing up. Do you remember being an awkward teenager growing up? And like I always wanted to be funny, but like girls weren't allowed to be funny, and it was just the boys were like the class clowns, and you stood back just watching them and trying to have a belly top on and all, be cute. And I was like, this is so shite. I want to be funny. Like the guys are allowed to be funny, and I'm not allowed to be funny. So I think that as I've grown older, I've been all, no, if I think it and it's funny, just say it, and then somebody will tell you if it's offensive afterwards.
Yeah. So, like, how did you find that? Because, like, there's not many female comedians in Northern Ireland.
No, there's really not. There's much more now.
Yeah.
There's definitely a handful now of girls that are
coming through.
And great, and that's brilliant. And I remember when like one of them started doing stand up, and people were to me, "Oh, do you feel like now there's like other girls coming through this competition?" I'm like, "No, I'm delighted."
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it makes it more normal for an
That's
audience.
it.
to see
Normalising it.
the amount of times I have done gigs and men have come over to me afterwards went, I normally hate female comedians, but that was good. And I'm all, that is not a compliment.
Even I've said that.
Have you see?
And you're a female,
Oh, sure. Here we are.
And it's not a compliment because but it's so vague. It's going, I normally hate food, but they're noodles. Like, but that's mad. You don't hate food. You just haven't tried the right fucking stuff.
We get that with football all the time.
Yeah.
They're like, do you know what? I never would have watched women's football, but here that was all right. I'm like, I don't really
think that's a compliment.
Yeah,
I know.
like, oh, right, okay, thanks. Do you know what I mean? So I know exactly what you mean, yeah.
But we're both in industries where it's very uncommon for women to be in.
That's male-dominated
It's male
industries, yeah.
And also you still have a whole lot of people who have yet to see you as equal to your male counterparts
Exactly, 100%, yeah.
who are footballers or who are comedians.
Was that a conscious thing though for you to be like, well, I do want to kind of just be a bit different here and sort of break into that, you know, very
By
male.
owning a vagina.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think do you know what? I remember being quite unhappy at times before I started stand up, when I was solely acting, because I found myself being so comparative with other actors who got parts. I would always look up the parts I auditioned for and didn't get and be like, who's got it? And it was just consuming me.
Paranoid about it.
Yeah, and it made me so like just like sometimes quite unhappy about it. And when I moved into comedy, I realised that you're really not in competition with everyone because everyone's so different and what you do. Whereas, so if you're up against 30 girls for a part, it's the same part.
Yeah.
So it's like, oh, well, I wasn't right for that part. That's grand. But when you're doing stand-up, like every single one of us are going to be doing a different thing on stage.
Yeah.
So there's
And some
really
will find it funny, like you said. There isn't like an audience for everybody nearly.
And there's no way of comparing them.
Yeah.
It's like you don't compare a rock band to a rap artist because they're different things.
Yeah.
And you don't compare, you know, me on stage as a comedian to anybody else on stage as a comedian. You might go, I prefer that one, but that's just like going, I prefer classical music to pop music because they're just different things. So you can't go, that one's better. You just go, that's the one I prefer.
Yeah.
So I think that's why the wording people use around when they, like, people go, oh, such and such is a shy comedian, or I don't like female comedians. You're like, that's so vague. It's like you can go, I don't particularly enjoy that type of comedy. But you can't say I don't enjoy female comedians.
This is it.
I don't enjoy watching females play football
Yeah.
because it's like so vague. It's like, that's bullshit. Like you're missing out.
Well, that's it, yeah. What's that saying? Like tarnishing with the same brush thing?
Yeah,
If that's a saying, if that applies,
That's it.
that's
And-
what I mean.
Yeah, and it can be really offensive. But I'm lucky. Like, I don't think that there is a lot of that here. I don't think, like, I have never found audiences or even the other comedians within the industry here to treat me like a woman.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've never ever found that, really. I've never found, like, I've seen some female comedians over the years, like maybe posting things online just being like such a boys club and whatever else, but I have not found that. Yes, there are mainly guys, but I don't think that's due to the guys not letting the girls be comedians.
Yeah.
Otherwise, well, how did I get to do it then?
Well, exactly.
Yeah.
This is
I mean?
it,
But
yeah.
it does always seem like, well, certainly from social media and like, because of yous are all in that circle and yous all go on each other's podcasts and you know, yous are always kind of seen together and kind of helping each other out. And I mean, that could just be like, yous make it look that way, but it looks as if it's not really competitive and it's.
Well, I think it's a difficult thing to, that's what I'm saying, I think it's a difficult thing to be competitive with because everyone's so different.
This is it. You all bring something different to the table that you can't compare. Yeah.
So it's like, it's comparing just like two different breeds of things. Like it's you know, it's like I said, like with acting, it is so much easier to compare yourself to somebody because you're literally up for the exact same part.
Yeah.
You know, and then they will be playing that part in the TV show that you didn't get, and you're like, oh. So that's so much easier to be hard on yourself in that industry, I think. So moving into comedy for me was a healthy move, I think, mentally as well as financially.
And so you have to write your material obviously for your stand up, and then you have to write scripts for shows and stuff as well.
Yeah, I put the shitter stuff under the script. No, do you know? Like I have so many documents open on my phone all the time. If I think of an idea, and I'd be like, that's an idea, but I don't really know if it's going to stand up on stage. So I'll maybe like put it into a play, or I'll try and put it into like a script of like, I'm currently writing. I did a play called Bridesmaids last year, which I had written, and it was in the Opera House, and it turned, and it did really, really well. So the sequel's going out this October on sale now. GOH.co.uk. But I'm like, I'm at a fuck. I've had a brick wall.
Oh, really?
I'm all looking at this every day, going, not proud of this. It will be good by the time it gets on stage. Yeah. But like, it's it can be. Do you know what it is? Sitting down. It's not like you just go training. Like there's the hours I have to go training. That's grand. You have to go do that. To sit down and write, you have to have had the idea before you sat down.
Right,
You can't just sit down and go.
Start
Well, some
thinking
people
about it.
can, but I certainly can't go. Right, I'm going to write from 9 till 1 because I'll just be like, I'll write my own obituary. You might not be, I don't know what I'm doing here.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
it sort of has to come to you, and you have to get into a flow of it. Otherwise, you can just be writing shite. Especially like if you're like if you have a baby and you're sleep deprived, and you're like I did the blame game 8 days after my daughter was born, and I was so sick with COVID, but I was past the infectious point, but I was still really ill, couldn't eat and all, and I remember being on the blame game, and I've since watched bits of those couple of episodes back, and I am like dead behind the eyes, and I'm like, how did I write any material for that show? I don't know how I survived that. I had about 2 hours sleeping, shut out my arse all day with COVID. You know what I mean?
One question I always have for comedians is, how do you remember your script? Because that's a
Well,
long thing to try and remember.
I'm lucky that I spent years acting that scripts are I can learn lines like that really, really quickly. Everything I've said today I wrote. Yeah. But like my husband, he's more of a one-liner comedian, so he does like jokes, which is like a setup and a punchline, you know, and they're so specific. You can't fuck around with a word into them. The way you can with stories, you can sort of like you know, you can embellish a wee bit, and then as long as you end up in the same place and hit the points.
Fine, yeah.
But with a joke, the wording has to be exact every single time, or you could ruin it. You know, and you will ruin it. And he has literal amnesia. Like he cannot remember anything ever.
Like to get his inhaler.
Brilliant.
Yeah, to get his inhaler. And I'm like, how do you remember your stuff? And it stresses him so much. He was on the Empire last night, and he hadn't maybe gigged in about a week or 10 days, whatever, because Christmas. And he literally was like stressing all day before the Empire. He was like, I'm not gonna, like, I'm stressing out. And then he does that, and then he comes home from the gig, and it was great, and he had a great time. But like everyone has always told to him, how the hell can you remember your jokes, because it's so wordy.
Like
so
you can't, yeah.
Like I'll tell you this is how simple he was, right? He was on Shane Todd's podcast one time, and somebody wrote in, it was like a live podcast, saying, oh, Sean broke his arm in my backyard and whenever we were like teenagers or whatever. Sean was all, that guy's mad because I've never broken my arm, that's crazy. And about 15 minutes in the podcast he went, oh yes, I think I did break my arm in that guy's garden.
Goodness me.
And I was on Shane's podcast the next week, and he was like, how mental is your husband? I was like, how can he forget breaking his arm? Especially if someone just said it to him. And he went, no, that's a lie. And then he went 10, 15 minutes later, oh I wasn't that guy's garden and I broke my arm. That's my dad. Like, it was just so silly. But that's like, so yes, you have to have a good memory.
Goodness me.
But
I see if you're ever like tells a joke. Like, I cannot remember jokes.
Yeah. That's the worst thing to say to a comedian.
Really?
Well, yeah, that's what I was about to say.
Here, I know
do you
a good
not
joke.
hate that expectation off
To be
stage?
funny.
Just to be funny all the time.
Like, people always build to me and Sean, you two must just laugh in bed all
That's what I
night
always
long.
wonder. Like,
No, it's
away
miserable,
from it,
Alex.
like, do you like be funny all the time? Like, no.
We're just humans.
Yeah.
But there's that expectation that people are on all the time. The comedians are like, no, that would be exhausting. Like, you go home and you have your stressful, normal things in your life that you're not gonna piss yourself laughing when your husband forgets to get his inhaler and he can't breathe and he's about to die and you have to drive him to A&E.
But
like,
it makes for a good story when you come on.
exactly. So actually, you'd be delighted. This is so like dark, but even whenever, like, I remember going through the process of like IVF and all, and it being like years and years long. It must have took us 7 years from start to finish to have our daughter. And I remember being like yeah, it can be a really upsetting, dark time. And at the end of it, I remember being I'm gonna write a show about this and make all this money back and talk about it on stage, and I would have played about it, and it's gonna be in the lyric next year. Because I was like, I spent about 15 grand on IVF and I'm making every fucking penny back through comedy.
Yeah, here, why not?
Yeah.
Why not? Hey, fair play to you.
So, because even like whenever we did our IVF in the Czech Republic, and whenever we were away a lot too, funny things would happen just in general. Like, and my husband would be like, write that down, and I would just like sitting on the way over, like during the procedure and all, writing notes on my phone, trying to come up with comedy about this. Well, I need to make this money back. But yeah, no, we do have non-funny times too, I suppose. Do you know what I mean?
Suppose you want your switch off time too, and
but we do work together quite a lot. Like, we write shows together. We have a production company now, and we wrote our Christmas show there for the Opera House and actually the Waterfront. And the Opera House one that we're writing next year as well. So we do write together and create stuff together. But fuck me, it's like if you ever tried to put up a flat pack piece of furniture.
here, there's where the biggest arguments.
Yeah.
It's like, no, righty-tighty, not lefty-loosey. And it's like, where's the screwdriver? It's like shocking.
Sean gets on, like, he's all, the instructions were just put together.
Oh,
and I was
here, nothing worse.
like, Why?
Yeah.
Why does anybody with testosterone get on the guy? Why do they be like, we just don't need the
Yeah,
instructions?
no, I know.
You do? You're
Yeah.
stupid at this.
Yeah, my husband's shocking to hear. I'm like, just you sit down. I'll do it.
I'm great
I'll
at
do it.
pitting up shit.
Yeah.
Like, not pregnant because I'll boke, but
That's what I was going to say.
but I like pit up. Like, I can pit up for it. I think I have more patience for it. It's never perfect, but it's up. Whereas
this is it.
Sean would just like chuck it out the window halfway through. Or
You
whatever.
know, the process would be way slower if I got involved. So I'm like, look, I would love to help. I really would love to be involved, but
You're going to supervise the event
Yes.
instead
Yeah.
from afar.
Yeah, no.
Call me when you're done.
That's my husband. He's useless.
and I'll give you
He's
praise
shocking.
for it.
Yeah, but that's whenever we're writing stuff together as well. Like we'll just fall out constantly until the script's written, and then we can just send it off. But it's the same as putting up flat pack furniture. We're like, you have your strengths and I have mine,
Yeah.
and neither of them are the same thing. So we need to step away. Like he can't sit beside me if we're writing a script, because I bash out things on the laptop without looking at it just to get the idea on the page, and then I'll go back and fix the spellings and the format and whatever. He like needs it to be written out perfectly,
Formatted
at
perfectly
the time.
Oh,
He's like
very
a grammar
fair.
Nazi.
Yeah, right.
And I'd be like, well, that's stunting my flow here.
Yeah.
I just need you to get to the other side of the room.
Oh, honestly, brilliant.
He's not the worst. I've really shot on him here, haven't I?
Just what these forums are for, isn't
Yeah.
it? It's just getting things off your chest.
I
eh?
know. The amount of podcasts that I've been like said stuff about my stepsons and all too, and I'm like, I need to stop. They're lovely boys. Keep shitting on them. Just that, yeah.
You just need to have tons of stories, though, don't you, for like all these podcasts? It seems like you have a
them
story for everything. Well, yeah, you could.
Just make them
only-
up. She
no only
was
to
she
men.
read
steal
all
other
this. Yeah.
people's stories.
No need to mind. But I suppose that's whenever you get into the realm of writing or podcasting, like you are now, you do find yourself during the week going, I'll talk about that.
Yeah.
Or like before we were recording, you're chatting away and you're all, just press record because like the we're
the
we're having
content's
fun
Because you
here.
never know where
Yeah.
it'll take
You were telling us about your famous feet.
Oh. Hi, about how people make accounts of feet pictures and all of my feet.
My first encounter of that, I was in Budapest, and I had, now this is about 10 years ago, I guess Sean and I were for our first wee holiday, and I put up a photograph of like a pedicure. This is back in the days. Now this is a side note, but like, when you get like your Facebook memories,
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
and you're
Yeah.
like, who was I?
Yes.
I
Oh,
know.
Frank.
I used to talk like that.
Like
Bye.
I remember putting up a photograph.
Statuses you put up.
Yeah, I put up
In
a photograph
school.
of Kendall Jenner at Coachella about 10 years ago and was like, wow. Can Kendall do anything wrong? Like, I want to claw my fucking eyes out. That is so not me. You know, obviously just posting
Yeah.
shit that you think.
Yeah.
I was like, wow, love her fringed waistcoat. Like, I'm embarrassed. But anyway, I put up a photograph of, like, my pedicure. And I was
Yeah.
like, fresh nails. Like, who wants to see that on Instagram? And the amount of I had no followers or anything, but the amount of messages I have from people going, can we reuse this photograph? And now if you go on Google my feet, they're just like zoomed in photographs.
Oh,
Of,
well, that's all that this link is of mine. People have taken photographs if I'm wearing like flip flops and that.
yes!
Zooming into my feet, and I'm like, that is disgusting.
It's so
my word.
weird.
Isn't it? Do you know
Yeah.
another big thing is socks? People want, like, I get all these messages on Instagram all the time. People want
Your sweaty football
my
socks.
sweaty
Yeah.
socks. It's mental, isn't it?
I mean, have you asked? For
No,
help?
I've not really, like, I've not gone down that rabbit hole, but there's a real market for it, I think.
Is there a limit? Like, would you not sell them?
Oh, I've not really thought about it too much.
I think it depends. Now, if you're selling them and you're meeting some guy down a back alley, that's like a tenner.
sliding them across, there you go, match worn.
Yeah. But if you make a sort of like a thing about, like, you could make a little bit of a shrine. I don't know, like, make it a bit fancier.
No, here, you want to talk about smells? That would be some smell.
Yeah.
Get the cranes in, come on.
Pregnant, you probably be like, it's my pregnant people. Can I buy your sweaty socks?
Honestly, like, it's weird. It's so weird that
But
people
they're-
are interested in that.
What would it take? What would you? Okay, if someone said to you,
Where do you draw the line?
I don't know. I've not thought about it enough to...
let's think about it.
Right, okay.
$5,000. Hold on. That's crazy. For your socks.
People would, though. Like,
Would you sell them for £500?
I don't know, like...
One sock. half a sock.
Suppose you
Just a toe.
probably.
Of course.
Of course you would.
Yeah,
aye,
what's the worst they're going to
should-
do with it?
Yeah, this is it. I mean,
One of the comedians, I'll not say which one, sold his boxers one time. I'll not say which one. I'll not.
Do you know how much for?
Yeah. Not much.
What size were we able to get?
process of elimination.
No, I'm not
honestly.
going to.
Is your husband?
Triple XL. So like, I mean, there's a market out there for all. I always say, if you can think it, someone's wanking to it.
Oh,
And on that note,
yeah, I was just about thinking we should probably wrap up before this gets out of hand. So the only one thing we are asking everybody is, and this can be as serious or as lighthearted as you want.
Yeah.
Probably the latter.
Probably the latter with you. If you were to like give yourself advice for when you were a kid growing up, what would
Yeah.
you say to yourself now?
I've probably already said it. Well, have I said it on the podcast? And it's, if it's funny, say it.
Yeah.
Say it. I spent so many years in groups that I was working with that were really male orientated, and honestly, and I know it's cliche, I would say an idea and then it would be like ignored, and then 10 minutes later a guy would go, what about? And then I'd be like, for fuck. And I, 'cause even like in the sketch group I was in, it was mostly men. There was just me and one other girl, and a lot of the time I was like, I am not being confident enough with my own creative input.
Yeah.
So even for my teenage years, I often just shied away from allowing, from like just, I would just say if you think it's funny or if you think it's worth saying in general, just fucking say it.
Yeah.
No one's going to say it for you. And I was going to say, you'll not regret the things that you say, but you will.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, you will. If you go through all the back catalogue of all these podcasts, you'll
Go
regret
back
some.
and look at your tweets. From
Yeah, like I've had
10
some
years ago.
text messages from my producers sometimes after the podcast going, is that guy actually convicted, or can we talk about that because that libel? I'm like, oh no, he's fully in jail now.
Brilliant. Well, honestly,
good.
thank you so much for coming on the
Thanks for having
podcast. We've had such a laugh.
Brilliant.
So,
Thank you so much, and all the best with it.
Thank you.
yeah, honestly, thank you. We're enjoying it so far. It's given us some laughs anyway. So,
My podcast, by the way, just going to do
yes,
Plug
plug,
it.
away,
Plug
plug
away.
away.
Remember When with Diona Doherty, available on or Diona Doherty if you're not from Derry.
/
Available-
London Dairy.
Yeah. Available on all. No, actually, you're welcome if you got one there. You can look on this my podcast. Available on all platforms now.
Brilliant. Thank you. Thank you very much. To sign up to our Patreon, visit the link in our bios on our social media pages.